Afraid of my solo. I gave him 40 right in the for quarter. They labeled me, call me a show off. And I don't know what I did to him. Sound like a solo problem. All I'ma say about it, where the hell my cup? Now it's gone. No, my name was on it.
Turn it up, warm it up, leave it one scene tonight. Look it up, roll it up, while we ain't all the time. Don't ask me, don't need to know. Just moving along, baby, I won't. I had a choice and pushed it aside. I had a choice, then I made it mine. Just in my closet, it's been a long while since we did a soiree. Alright, oh boy, you had me so low. That's not what's in that solo. Got me feeling better, I'm off the clock. Who got the juice? Don't know who knows. After this, I might not be solo.
Girl, me hear your solo now. Want to run the town. Let me change your mind. I can show you how. Baby girl, tell me what you need. You want to sip a liquor or we can smoke the tree. We can catch a movie or we can hit the beach. You know I'm not a saint, but I practice what I preach. Call them say what goes around, it comes around. You're solo, but I hope you end the night with me. That's right.
Oh boy, you had me so low. That's not what's in this solo. Got me feeling better, I'm off the clock. Who got the juice? Don't know who knows. After this, I might not be solo.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. It is me, your boy Rico No Suave, here on a 1-2-1-2, ready to go with each and every one of you guys. Hooray! Man, I am super happy to be back with each and every one of you guys. Tu sabe, mi gente. Oh, man, another great episode of Rico No Suave. And it's a good, positive episode. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are ready for a great show. And it is going to be fun-filled, packed, ready to go today, everybody. Man, just stay tuned. And if you're actually online, make sure you go ahead and share this video. But we're about to get right into it because it's about to go down, everybody. It's about to go down. Everybody, this is Black History Month. Black History Month, everybody. Yes, this is Black History Month. And I am super, super happy to be able to talk about this. One of the things about Black History Month, of course, yeah, we celebrate, everyone celebrates as far as, the different types of months that they do celebrate. And I say that one thing about celebrating Black History Month is just making sure that we give the love to the pioneers, to a lot of great leaders that actually have helped us throughout time of, inspiration, in regards to things that we may be having issues with that we might be able to fall back on, such as Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, people that just actually help us, Dr. Maya Angelou. We talk about even also some of the celebrities that actually helped us as far as to be able to help our dreams grow faster as well, too, for everyone to be able to enjoy. But today, we're going to do something different. Why? It's because there are also other leaders. And when I say leaders, I'm talking about people that's actually in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, that we also look up to that can actually have a legendary status. But we're going to do something different with this one. I got a short clip that I want you guys to really, get the vibe, because when music makes us lose control, you know what I mean? As far as when we're actually out there just dancing. But HBCU colleges, there's a band leader, his name is William, and he gets it in, everybody. And I want to tell you that this guy is definitely a legend. So we're going to roll this clip and
Come on in, ladies. Want to roll this with these guys? Second and goal.
And I hope you enjoyed that. Yes, that is Black History Month, everybody. Man, my man William threw down in the band itself. And, I was very inspired in regards to this because, of course, that song, it just makes you want to listen to it over and over and over again. And, we think about nowadays, well, back in the day, it was all about people gathering to be able to hear a speech, to be able to be inspired. But now we have social media where everybody can actually post something and then it just goes viral, where a person just can become just a legendary upon himself. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself in regards to that, because I know that I enjoyed myself as far as with that too. All right, everybody, let's get down to this young lady here. Hey, when I talk about an international keynote speaker, this young lady has been there to be able to tell stories in regards to her livelihood, but also to be able to help international businesses as well too, to become profitable as well as successful. This young lady is a visionary, but she's also a visionary to be able to know that she can write a book. And when she's ready to write this book, she was writing a book that you're going to actually be amazed about. I want you guys to stand up. She's right now tuning in from España, stand up Spain. 2:30 in the morning, it's about 3 o'clock right now, but put your hands together for none other than Dr. Ariel King. Let's go, baby. Dr. Ariel, are you there?
Sí, buenas noches. Hello.
Buenas noches. How are you, love? How's everything?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so looking forward to sharing this time with you and your audience.
Yes. It is great to see you here. And, Doctor, there's so many things that I tell some of my guests that, based off of your background and things that you have done, there's so many things that, we look at saying that we're going to need a part two. And when I say we're going to need a part two, sometimes we need that. But I'm so happy to actually have you here today. It's on the Rico No Suave show, and everyone else will be tuning in and joining in, and hopefully they'll be asking questions. So we might take a break to be able to ask those questions as well, too. And if not, we're just going to keep the ball rolling, baby. We're going to keep the ball rolling. Are you ready?
Sí, por supuesto. Of course.
Vale. All right. So when we talk about, normally when we hear people, that talks about, really great things, and, like you of your caliber, helping corporations, no matter what size of the business, that to work with clients internationally. What is the process of that connection with that business to help them become successful?
Thank you for that question. I think it's really important to first figure out uh, what is really wanted.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to say that they want to try, but they can't do it. And other times they really want to be successful. So I think the first step for me is to realize, do they really want help? Do they really want to go forward? Or do they just want to say they asked for help and they want to go forward? Once I actually know that they really do want to go forward and they really do want to connect internationally and be successful, then what I do is I have it's more than a business assessment, an understanding of where did they come from, what was happening with the company, what was happening with the people that were involved, and then where do they think they want to go, and
Yeah.
what resources do they want to use to get there. Sometimes people say, I really can't afford to add very much to my budget, but I want to change things and I want to change how I make things happen. And so that's really important to make sure that when that's done, that they give you the information that they need, and even more importantly, excuse me, turn it off. Even more importantly, that they know that with the goal of where they want to go, and with the understanding that you can use what they already have, and an understanding that you're working together and you're going to get there, it's so important to start with a clear understanding of what you want to do and what resources you have to make that happen.
I like that. I think one of the things about, understanding a business, but it's different. And well, you tell me if it's different, but from the outside looking in, when you do have someone of a company and you start talking internationally, in regards to the connection internationally, I'm assuming that you're helping businesses from across the world. Are they actually working? Are you helping them to be successful within their culture, within their country? Or are you also helping them to be, more of a broader way of, hey, I'm going to connect you with, from one from España to the US or someone in the US? How is that process working when you make that
Yeah.
connection?
That's such a good question because, as you know, culture is very important. Language is very important.
Sure.
So it's really important to figure out what culture and language. But usually, what I do is I help to bridge gaps between one country and another. Or, for example, there was a university that I consulted with that was a very big university and wanted to start an international program, but wasn't sure exactly how to start that program and what steps needed to be taken. But not just start a program, they wanted to be understood and recognized for being international, for being in the forefront for their students. And we did that kind of assessment, and we were able to put in place a program in the United States that allowed them to be international, including traveling, having an ambassador in residence, we called it, and then also being able to formulate partnerships across borders. So that was quite successful. We were able to do it actually using the budget that they had, which was even better for them. They were quite happy because
Yeah.
they didn't have to add a lot to what they were doing. So basically, we went through their budget, figured out where we can actually move resources, where we can actually also move human resources in order
Yeah.
to allow them to meet their goal.
I like that. The one thing I really like about that piece is, understanding the difference in regards to how cultures work together between America and also from other countries, and being able to, I guess there is a perk, a perk of traveling, being able to see the world. I would say that that'd be a really great thing. But understanding the culture first, understanding the business second, and then also making a connection. If you've been in the US, you understand how it works here from a financial, from a presentation standpoint. But when you're actually going internationally, to be able to either have someone to translate or you learn the language as well too, is a really, and you talked about bridge gap, as far as bridging those two together and you being the middle person of actually pulling them together and making it one knot and saying, hey, we're going to hold this together. I really, I admire that about you, because when we talk about internationally,
Thank you.
it's not an easy thing to do for everyone. It's a learning experience. How was your learning experience in regards to when you started doing international connections between different countries?
I mean, that's a very good question. I think that for me, what was interesting is that I hadn't left the United States until I was 20 years old.
Okay.
And when I was 20, I went on something called Semester at Sea. And
Nice.
Semester at Sea, it sounds like a ship cruise or something, but it really wasn't. It was with Institute of Shipboard Education on a cruise ship. I think I was with 500 other young people.
Okay.
This was back in 1982, and I'm saying this because we literally went around the world to 13 countries. So
Wow.
yet I was very fortunate because as I was born and grew up in New York, I had a lot of various cultures around me, a lot of various languages, and it was just normal. It was just something that was celebrated. Many people, of course, spoke English, but culture, food, music, as you're talking about, dance was all around me, and I think that
Yeah.
that was the foundation of international. And then at 20 years old, it tells you how old I am now. At 20 years old, I went around the world for the first time. And I mean, literally, not figuratively, to 13 countries in Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas. And I had an understanding of who I am, and even more importantly, who I am, not just as an American, not just as a daughter, but who I am as a person that can actually make a difference within the world.
That is awesome. I think when it comes down to, I wish I had that opportunity, and the reason why I say that is because being able to be here in America and to be able to travel and see what other cultures is all about, it's such a great thing because it's almost as if you're networking with cultures and understanding
Absolutely.
those cultures and knowing deep down inside that, hey, I want to learn every language I can to be able to continue to build my portfolio, but in a good way, in a positive way. People that love to travel, I admire them. They love to travel, they love to see what other cultures are doing. But for me, I love to get deep down into it. And also because someone like yourself, your credibility goes way up. People tend to respect you because of you making those connections with multiple people, well, and countries, I should say, and it makes it easier for you to be more credible and get more respect. I'm trying to think of the
Well, thank
word
you.
that will
Yeah,
actually
I
make
really
sense in
appreciate it. I
regards to
haven't really
this.
thought of it that way. And I
Yeah,
think that you were saying, I think I had fortune. Some people call it fortune. Some people call it blessing. Some people call it, uh, you know, saying yes. Because there are times that we don't realize, but we should say yes. And
yeah,
sometimes you're afraid because you don't know. I was 20 years old before I left the country, but as I said, New York helped me. Um,
yes,
being born in New York and having the privilege of being around the theater, the people, the the culture, the foods, the smell, the language made all the difference in the world. Yet at the same time, when I first was going to go, it didn't happen easily. I had decided I was going to do it. I didn't have the money. I didn't have. I've never been out of the country, so it was not necessarily easy. But what I really loved is I made the decision to do it, and I made it happen. I was absolutely determined. And for me, it was a fait accompli, right? So it
yes.
was going to happen. And that was at 20 years old. So some of it wasn't just about traveling, but it's about saying, okay, so I don't have everything. Okay. So I don't have, a bank account that I can dip into and pay for this.
Sure. Yes.
you know
Yes.
but I'm going to figure out how to do it, and I'm going to do it. And I think that that really changed also my understanding and my ability of what I could do if I just put my mind to it, what I could do if I just put my heart and my soul and my ability to make it happen. And
Yes.
that
I
experience, I
love
think,
that.
was the key mark of my life.
I love that, Dr. Ariel King. I love that. I love that. And the more I talk about this, of course, more emotional I get when it comes to, people that don't understand what the world has to offer. When I say the
Yeah.
world, not just America, we're talking about the world in general. And you being, and I saw a video of you, I think it was either a TED Talk or it was you in front of talking in front of people professionally, and you're just talking about, either from a financial standpoint or the journey of your life, which also leads into kind of that international keynote speaker, right? When you're public
That was in
speaking.
Tunisia. That was wonderful.
Where
The
was that?
Tunisia.
Tunisia. Okay.
right, which is North Africa. And
Okay.
that was my first time in Tunisia, but it was absolutely wonderful, and the people were quite gracious. And the keynote speaker for Tunisia was very important to me because, of course, their first language is Arabic. So then you say,
Yeah.
well, you
Wow.
have someone like me with the accent and just with the culture, right? An American that's lived in 12 countries, but still someone from the United States, born in the United States. How do I bring a message to people whose first language is Arabic? And then how do I bring a message for them to understand what I'm saying and how I'm saying it? And I decided that the best way, as you said, was music.
Yep.
So I decided for the first time, because I hadn't seen it done before on TEDx, to use storytelling and music to basically give the points that I wanted to talk about, but even more importantly, bypassing the brain and going straight to the heart.
Wow. I'm amazed, man. How can I say it? I'm super amazed because, sometimes people say, "Man, I wish I was in your shoes." Right? That's me right
Yeah.
now. I wish I was in your shoes
Well,
because being in Spain right now, I would love to be in Spain because I know I'll be dancing a little salsa, and
yeah.
everything.
Well, not here very often because I spend a lot of time also in Geneva, or right on the frontier or the border of France. So yeah,
That's
it,
awesome,
it, it
man.
makes a difference. And I think the fact that I live internationally on a general scale, and I mean, usually on a daily basis, have to speak either German, French, or Spanish,
Yes.
I think it really adds to my life. And I'm quite fortunate that I've been able to acquire these experiences and these language literally through being there, through living in Germany, through living in France, through living in Switzerland, and of course, being in Switzerland at the United Nations. As you know, I've been a
Yeah.
representative at the United Nations for NGOs for many, many years. So it's really made a difference. And I think the best part of this, it makes me understand and realize that no matter how different we are in culture and language, we are so much the same as people,
Yes.
as human beings.
Yes. It's all about, for me, it's all about food too. I love to cook. So, when it comes down to me going down to different
Nice.
countries and
Now, don't do that, making me hungry.
yeah, I forgot it's early in the morning for you.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
Listos.
I really love the fact that you actually have, that connection, but also being able to speak the different language. You did talk about Arabic. Arabic was something I wanted to actually learn as well too, and to be able to make that connection and to be able to, and music, yes. When you start singing the songs, you start learning it. It's just like a little kid, a little baby, knowing they're hearing music and just singing a song, and then all of a sudden it just start flowing. Right, the more you repeat it, the better you get. Before we take a quick break in a few minutes, when it comes to the international business, as far as advising them, when it comes internationally, how do you prepare? How do you prepare to be able to talk about a certain subject to someone internationally? How do you prepare for something like that?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. The first thing I look at is what's the culture? What's the language?
Yeah.
Right? What's the culture? The culture makes a big difference. And also, what is what am I trying to help with? What am I trying to connect with? What is the issue that we're trying to explore together, the audience and I? And so we start with that. And then with that, I try to figure out not just only how much time I have, but how can I make a connection? How can I leave something that allows the people within the audience, as many as possible, to have something that they haven't had before, that they can take with them and develop and grow from.
Wow.
It's more than just speaking at someone or speaking. It's making a connection, but allowing the connection to allow people to know who they are, what they have inside of them, and how they're able to use whatever they have in order to meet the goals that they have.
Wow. Yeah, I like that because the connection is solid. The connection is solid and it's smooth,
Absolutely.
and you got to make sure it's smooth enough because they won't trust you if they feel that
No, why
you're
should
not
they?
ready, right? If you're not
Right. And
prepared
also,
for it.
if you're not there for them, people know when you're there for yourself to glorify yourself.
Yep.
And they know that when you're there for a goal to glorify them, the higher being of what they want to do, and they're clear. People all over the world are quite receptive, and they're quite perceptive. So they understand when you really want to be there with them, join with them, explore with them, and allow somehow some magic to happen between you and the people that you're engaged with. And they also know when you're just there to basically say, look at who I am, look how wonderful I am. Aren't you lucky to be with me?
Yes.
And thank goodness they know the difference. And even more importantly, if it's the other way around, and if it's not that sharing, and if you're not there to give, they make it clear that they really don't want to hear you. How do they do that? They move their phone, their watch, their this, their that, everything's going off, and you know it. So
Yeah.
I've been fortunate that I make sure that I
Yeah.
don't have that happen.
That's
The audience is so important to me. They or the people that I'm engaging with, because remember that time will never come again.
that's right.
That possibility will never be here. For example, you and I being on this show, I want to thank you
Yes.
with your audience. This is a one-time life fantastic experience, and it will not come again. So
Oh,
then while we're here, we're on it.
hey, you know what? I like the way you said that, but I'm gonna remix that because there will be another time for us to have a fantastic time together.
Oh,
And if I
thank you.
have to come to Spain, I'll come to Spain,
Or no, or Switzerland. Remember Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Most of my time is spent in Switzerland, right? So
Now I know.
listen. I'll say even on the show, you're invited. You're invited.
Let's
Actually,
go.
get to do a show from there. Well,
I'm
I
bringing the
think I'd
whole
like that
crew.
actually.
I'm
I
bringing the
think I'd
whole
like
crew.
that.
Everybody, you already know it's your boy Rico No Suave. I'm here with none other than the beautiful Dr. Ariel King. Doctor, we got to take a quick break, real quick, 30 seconds, and then we're coming back to this fantastic, which is the word of the day, fantastic interview. All right, everybody, we'll be back 30 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. We are here with none other than the beautiful Dr. Ariel King, tuning in from España, from Spain right now. Doctor, are you having a great time?
Yes, sir. Loving it. Loving it.
Awesome.
Le gusto mucho. Gracias.
De nada, de nada. Bienvenido otra vez. Pero let's get right to the next question. Now, I kind of touched on this. The keynote speaker, in regards to how do you prepare as far as for the audience. What are some of the subjects that you actually talk about to certain audience when you're doing your the international way?
Thank you. I mean, that's a very good question, and it's varied, right? It's varied. And let me give you an example. I was just invited to Malaysia several months ago, and it was a business school. And one of my big one of my big loves is young people. So young people up, we say up to 35, right? The UN says up to 35. And at the business school, I thought that we were going to be talking about various ways to connect international businesses. But what I found and what they asked me for was something very different. They were saying that their young people were having a very, very difficult time with, and this is a lot of young people today, trying to connect to who am I, why am I here, and how do I take whatever gift I have and put it into whatever I've decided to do as a quote unquote, as a career, as a life. And so when I went there, and I thought I was going to be preparing for something quite different. And when I got there, what we did is we had an assessment of the young people within that business school. It was a very, very large business school for Malaysia, and worked with the young people in a workshop to start talking about, basically what we would call in business a SWOT analysis, but we didn't do it that way. So we looked at the young people in smaller groups, looked at their strengths, they looked at their challenges. We don't like to call weaknesses because weaknesses is not something that's necessarily positive, right? A
Right.
challenge is positive because a challenge means that there's a possibility to get over it and to go over it and to get through it. The opportunities that they have as young people, and not their, SWAT is not their threats, but literally looking at their values. And that session, that particular session was very interesting for me because I realized that, business doesn't start with business. Business starts with people.
Right.
Business starts with understanding of who you are, how you work, what ways in which you work well, and how you are able to give to other people within your particular community. It doesn't matter if it's business or a nonprofit organization, or it really doesn't matter. That allowed me to understand that connection to self, connection to others, and having a clear understanding of your values and also your challenges and who you are makes a big difference. So that's just one example. But I would say that I've been so fortunate to also be an expert in HIV and AIDS for many, many years.
Yeah.
Also very fortunate to be an expert in international education, international affairs, and it's made a difference. So I would say what I speak on is vast, but what we really do is look at who's the audience.
Right.
What's the message and what's the issue? What's going on in a particular culture or with a particular company that they're really trying to figure out how to traverse, right? Not go around, not pretend it doesn't exist, but how to actually look at it, evaluate it, and go through it so then the people that they're working with can do the business that they do very well. So
Yeah.
many times it's not just about business, it's really about people and people's connections to themselves and people's connections to others.
I love it. I love that. And because sometimes when we talk about business, we start talking about PowerPoint presentations and we start talking about how can you get better and when the numbers are going to start going
And how
up
much
and we
money you can
start
get
seeing
and how
graph.
quick you can get it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I love the thing that you're talking about because the connections behind it makes a big difference because of there's interaction. I do want to go to the comments real quick because there is a statement, but there's also a question that we want to get from the audience. John T. for Free, hello, John T. for Free says, I wonder if America and North Africa will ever become closer or if there's anything we can do personally to strengthen our relationship. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that the relationship can be strengthened. I think that there's sometimes all of us as people sometimes try to stick to what we know best. North Africa, Africa in general, I think with the Americans can actually have a stronger hold. I think it's really important to know when I went to Tunisia, for example, I learned that the biggest hold that we have and the biggest relationship we have, believe it or not, starts with music. I was very, very surprised that many of them would sing songs that I didn't even realize they knew.
Wow.
I mean, full out singing in the presentation. I was like, oh wow, I like this. Call and respond that we have in America. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yes, I first of all, let's not assume that the connection isn't there just because we don't see it as much, or sometimes it might not show the way we think it does not mean that it doesn't exist.
Sure.
But yes, I do believe that there's a way to strengthen. And I think that, believe it or not, music, cultural events make a huge difference in people understanding each other. But more importantly, getting out of our head and going into our hearts and learning that we are together and that pretty much not necessarily one, but we're one human race. And
Yeah.
that we have a lot to offer one another. So yes, absolutely. I think there's a way for us to be connected stronger to North Africa, any part of Africa, and that's through music.
I love that. I love that. This takes a turn in regards to, me trying to understand when we think about business, because now we're really talking about music.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really love. I mean, it's just something that I really love. And I love it that, my thought process of how you make the connection and what means a lot to you is music. And it's almost like the entertainment piece of how you make the connection between different cultures. And it is true. Music, man. Music will bring people together just like food. Music and food, I tell you, that those are the two main things I think that brings people together. And then I want to go to the next question. I'm sorry, the statement for John T for free. Thank you. And then we have Donna Marie Bird. She said, "What is your favorite spot on the earth so far? The place where you felt or feel more of yourself or with
Wow,
yourself."
that's a fabulous question. That's a fabulous question. I love skiing and I love scuba diving.
Yeah,
Learned to scuba dive back in 1982.
nice.
So I have to be honest. Right now I've been to I think about 85 plus countries, and I have favorite countries for various reasons. But I think many of the places on earth that have incredible nature, I can either ski or I haven't scuba dived in a long time, but I'd love to do it again. Scuba dive. I love the ocean. So
Yes.
let me see. I was thinking about that the other day. There are many countries, at least 3 or 4 in Africa that I love, but there's also countries in Asia that I love. Just came back from Asia, and the Americas, of course, South America, the Americas. So it's difficult for me. But if I had to choose 6 or 7, I would say for adventure, India. Believe it or not. Because
Okay.
India allows you to understand who you are, where you come from, and why
Yeah.
you are who you are. And
Yes.
it's not just because you have the Taj Mahal. No, the Taj Mahal is interesting, but you have something called the Golden Temple, where the Sikhs come from. Many people see them in turbans, and they wear turbans. Sometimes they're orange, and that's such an amazing place because people don't know each other and they work together. So I've saw people that you don't have to speak the same language, you have to come from the same country, and you can volunteer in the kitchen. They give free food. There's music all many times playing out of the windows. It's they're cleaning together, men and women. You would be so surprised, and it's one of the places in the world where I actually saw people from various countries, various languages, even various religions, not just getting along, but literally working together, and communing together, being together, and appreciating one another. So I would say for that kind of adventure, it would be India. And then I would say for food everywhere. I'm a foodie. I can't just pick one place. I love food.
I'm with you on the food. I'm definitely with you on the
Yeah.
food, man. Before we take
It's a
another
long
break,
answer, but I
it's
tell
going
you, I
by
mean,
so fast.
I love, I think with exploring so many countries, almost 90 countries, it's really difficult to say because the world is such an amazing place, and the world is an amazing place because of its people. So
Yes,
how do you choose people? Difficult.
yes, yeah. And I think it's all about how people accept you, right? It's how
Yeah,
you're being accepted, and also what bright light do you shine when you're in front of people, right?
absolutely.
I
How do you
think
accept yourself, right?
exact.
Because you have to accept yourself for them to accept you. You have to know who you are, where you come from. So no
Yes.
matter where I go, I have a clear foundation of where I came. I was born in New York City.
Yeah.
I was born to a mother who didn't have the opportunities I had, but decided that somehow she never said no. She never said you couldn't do it. She said, "Oh, well, you can do anything you want to do," and I believed her.
There you
So it
go.
made all the difference. But whenever I go to these countries, I'm fooling myself. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not so positive, but that's
Sure.
okay. It's really important to show up as who you are. Now they call it authenticity. I find that interesting because I can't imagine if you're not yourself, who are you?
That's right. That's right. Hey, I love who you are. Like I
Thank
said, I
you.
wish I was in your shoes. Because and it will happen because traveling internationally is just a beautiful thing. You see the world. You see so many great things that you can learn from as well. But a couple more minutes. I do want to give some shout outs to people that's out there right now. Beatrice Davis, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, you know Beatrice Davis, always watching the show. Thank you so much for your support. Jacqueline Murphy from LA, Los Angeles, California. She's also from New York as well. They go back and forth. But thank you, Jacqueline Murphy, for actually tuning in, and everyone else that's actually tuning in, listening to the great words of Dr. Ariel King here on the Rico No Suave show. You talked about food, and I think I'm going to be getting hungry too, Doctor. When it comes down to food, there's I'm starting to get like crazy about like Korean food. Like Korean
Okay.
food is such an amazing, unique type of way of cooking when you see them like on YouTube and you see them as far as on certain videos and how they actually bring people together by certain uniqueness of the food. And it's so amazing. So I can imagine as far as with you being in different countries to be able to see the uniqueness of the food and how it's being prepared. Some of them halal. Depends on where you're at for the cuts of the meat itself. But
Absolutely.
I just say, man,
Now,
just send me
see,
pictures.
you're
Send me
doing
some
this to me. I
pictures.
can smell it already. So don't do this to me. While you're talking, while you're talking, I can literally see the foods that I've experienced or the foods that I wasn't really sure about, but tried anyway. So thank you for bringing me back there.
No, that's how I say thank you for coming to the buffet. That's one thing that I love. That's one thing I love about food. All right, Dr. Ariel, we're gonna take a quick break because we got to talk about something that's called NASCAR. Love, something's called NASCAR. Everybody, this is the NASCAR moments. Yes, NASCAR moments, man. Thank you so much to NASCAR for actually, having us as far as to be able to take photos and videos and be affiliated because I'm just a race car freak. But you know why I'm a race car freak? Because this gentleman, February 19th, he has won the Daytona 500. My man, his name is William Byron. William Byron he came in first place. But I'm going to tell you a story in regards to how this actually happened because it was crazy. When we look at the race car driving for different speedways and when it's Daytona 500 or if it's a Pennzoil 400 and we start seeing like crashes, people like tend to be like, whoa, whoa. This right here was so big that how he won, him and his colleague that was on the same team, they actually came in first and second place. Now, the way that this actually happened, he actually won by his front bumper, just by a smidget. And he actually won the Daytona 500. So, with some of the photos I want to show you, this is, him standing on Exalta number 24. Man, this was amazing. I mean, just by watching this, and of course, big shout out to the camera guy. Actually, that's there as well, too. That's him as far as when he won. And of course, it's the celebrations that they actually have. Wow, the celebrations that they actually have here. You can see that's how it is, everybody. When they actually celebrate, you get the confetti and everything all around. This is amazing. This is the bomb. Victory Lane. And then I got one more for you guys. Man, this one, whew, look at that. Wow. Now, of course, you can see kind of the burnt marks and things like that. That's actually there. Exalta, number 24. But congratulations to my man at Victory Lane, Daytona 500. My man, William Byron. Congratulations. And man, thank God you made it to number one safe. And I hope everyone else is actually safe as far as the race car drivers that was in NASCAR as well, too. But man, congratulations. And this is the NASCAR moment. Let's get back. Let's go. Yeah, baby. All right. Did you like that? Did you like that?
Yes, actually. Yeah, beautiful. I've actually gone to the Indy 500 and I've also gone to there's a Geneva car show that goes
Okay.
on every year and I fell in love with cars. I used to think it's
Yes.
only to go from point A to point B. And then
Uh-huh.
I went to the Geneva car show and I realized, oh my goodness, there's art here. So it changed my entire perspective about cars.
Tell you. Whoa. And it's just me, like, when I'm there and they're just going around, I just get like riled up because of the engine so loud, like, and just hitting it. It's that energy. And I'm just an energetic person myself. I got so much energy, it's just amazing. And I'm like, I am born to be here. This is me. You know,
Bravo.
Doctor, we got to get right to it because you are an author, right? You are an author, and we're going to display your book because we want to talk about your book and how you came about writing this book itself. This is Humanity Unveiled, a collection of unexpected encounters that reveal the human spirit in us all, by the author Dr. Ariel R. King. Doctor, talk to us about this book.
Thank you. Well, what's interesting is that I didn't start out writing the book about humanity. I started writing a book about the people in my life that really contributed in some way and taught me various lessons that I didn't expect. So, for example, you talked about Dr. Maya Angelou. I had an encounter with Dr. Maya Angelou many, many years ago in my 20s in Hawaii. And I won't just say an encounter, but time that I actually was able to spend with her. And for me, this was really amazing because I was a student. I had nothing to offer per se. You know, it wasn't done in front of cameras, but behind cameras. She took the time and an energy to invite me to her hotel in Waikiki, which was like an apartment, and sat down and talked to me and asked me about myself and what do I want to do and answered my questions about life. I found that such a giving and loving gift for someone who really wasn't that interesting at 20 years old. You know, so for example, I was able to be with Dr. Kubler-Ross, who was the person who wrote about death and dying. You know, people talk about the 5 stages, of grief and anger and bargaining and so on and so forth. And as a young person, helping with HIV and AIDS at the time, we didn't know what it was in the 1980s in Hawaii. I was able to spend 5 days with her in a workshop called Death and Dying. And that was also very interesting because we had people who were dying, we had people who were family members of people who were dying, and then we had people like myself who worked. I mean, at this time in the 1980s, unfortunately, we had a lot of people dying from what was used to be called HTLV3, human T lymphovirus 3. So I was able to spend time with her and have lessons. And so this book is a compilation of 15 different people, some known, some not known. For example, Paul Mitchell. I don't know, many people know Paul Mitchell.
Yes.
Paul Mitchell products, but this is the Paul Mitchell from Scotland. And by chance, he lived in Hawaii. And by chance, I was not able just to meet him and his family, but spend time with them where they lived in their home. And I even had my hair cut by him in a very strange manner. I mean, he actually cut my hair in a manner that was, I don't know, it's not straight across, but almost like a geographical line going down. He said, "Can I do your hair?" And I thought, sure. Um, so, I've had so many incredible encounters. Dr. Corlina West, for example, we in 2012, finally, America allowed people of any HIV status to enter the United States, and we had a Keep the Promise, I would say, conference and outside, and we had Wycliffe, the singer.
Yeah, Wycliffe
And
John.
right, right. I was in the audience with thousands of other people, and actually, I just came back from Europe, so I was only in America for about a week or two. I think less than a week, and they said, "Would anybody like to come up and dance?" And I thought, no, but then I thought, my older daughter, she loves dancing. Let me go up and dance for her. I can't believe it, but I'm dancing on stage, and I wound up dancing with Cornel West. When I was dancing with Cornel West, there was nobody else that existed. We
Yes,
had
yes.
so these stories, little by little, reveal not only the humanity in myself and my understanding of that, but the humanity of others, to give me their time, their energy, and to allow me to understand that even though many times I don't have anything to give them, it's like, well, what can you give me now? Or I'm going to give you time if I can get something. These encounters were in a way that was, you know what, we're both here now, you have value, and so I'm going to have this time with you. And that's where we found our common humanity. And this book basically is 15 stories about the luminaries like that. Also, we have several other, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. I don't know if people know Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, but actually had time to spend with him and others. So these stories are so important because you have people that most people think don't have the time and energy for a common person. And it was just the opposite. These people gave their time, their energy to me as a common person, and gave me gifts that I never thought was possible. So that's why this book is also called Humanity Unveiled, because I believe that all of us actually have a foundation of humanity, and
Yeah.
sometimes it just gets covered, right? It's
Yeah.
there, but it just gets covered, and that's why we call it unveiled.
I like that. I like that. Congratulations on that. Congratulations. And
Thank you, sir.
the one thing, Doctor, I have to say that every book, I shouldn't say every book, because some books don't need this, but some books like this, where you have real life experiences, may go in a direction of being a docu-series. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, you're internationally known. Number two, you have a business of bringing cultures within you, but also within others like myself when I speak with you. But then the magnet piece of you being able to talk to Dr. Maya Angelou, Paul Mitchell, and other ones that's in your book itself, it's almost as if you have a chain of effect of events where you can actually use this as a docuseries to be able to talk about what was your encounter with photos, and if you have videos as well too, to go along with that. So I'm just putting that in your in
Oh,
your ear.
thank
Don't
you.
tell nobody
Thank you
else I
for that
told you that.
gift. You know, can I? You see what you just did for me? That was Humanity Unveiled. That's what you just did. You
I
gave
did.
me something.
Yes.
You gave me something that not only did I not think about, but I didn't even realize. These people are extraordinary, and they're not extraordinary. They're not extraordinary just in front of the camera. They're extraordinary behind the scenes. These are
Right.
people that understand each other, understand themselves, and know their value. And they understand that their value has so little to do with what we give them accolades for. And
Yes.
I really didn't realize that having these various encounters, these 15, was the gift that you told me. But I think you're possibly correct. I just never thought of that. And I still think of myself as a person, and I will continue to see myself as a person who, more than anything else, loves people, and a person who continues to get to not just know myself, but accept and understand myself and figure out how can I give whatever I can to humanity, to people while I'm here. What can I do to make life better for other
Yes.
people? How can I be that encounter for someone else that they remember for years to come, and allows them to see, as you said, the light within them? You said it.
Yes. I say, and the reason why I say that, Doctor, I was joking, but I'm not joking, because I take life serious, as you have taken life serious as well too, with going on a sea of cultures, right?
Yeah.
And when I say the sea of cultures, it's being able to connect everywhere you go, you connect internationally. And because you also have that business, and also you speak multiple languages as well too, I would say it's more 80-20, if anything, for a docuseries. And the reason why I say that is because you are building a legacy that a lot of people know. Now, you've also worked with, if I must say, the United Nations as well too, right? So that's
Yes.
big upon itself. And it's good that you actually went through that, and also being able to speak multiple languages, and knowing that if you are in a round table with the United Nations and someone tried to talk about you, you definitely have that language. It's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, and you speak back to them, and they
Yeah.
didn't know.
And we change languages depending on who's sitting at the table. But that's really true. It's amazing you say that the UN has six official languages,
Yep.
including Arabic, Russian, Chinese, Spanish,
Yep.
English, French,
Yep.
right? So, but that's really true. And I think that the best part for me as working with the United Nations, and I've been working with the United Nations in various ways. I was a stage, or what you call an intern, many years ago, and then became an employee. Then after that, did consulting, and then used all my experience in order to help people within children and youth within my foundation Ariel Foundation International is 22 years old, help to empower them for leadership, especially within the United Nations. So we have actually, through our foundation, because we have a special working status with the United Nations, have been able to accredit children and youth up to 35 to United Nations meetings and also hold summits at the United Nations. So, and
Wow.
through that, they've become published authors. You know, we do everything we can to allow people to grow and develop. So we have 60 publications by children and youth, not just in English, but in various languages, including languages people don't think about, including African languages. It's in English and always the native tongue. And these young people have produced these publications themselves, and now they're published authors. So that can also be found on Ariel Foundation International website. So for me, the United Nations is continuously a wonderful experience, and it's my pleasure to connect people, children and youth, also people to the United Nations. So, for example, through what we do internationally, we're having humanity and diplomacy VIP tours and summits at the United Nations
Yes.
in the next several months. I shouldn't say, excuse me, not the United Nations, but the Geneva. So in Geneva, looking at the United Nations within the next several months. So we do a lot of that to try to connect people to the international realm and let them see how does it work. The humanity realm, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent, that's been working with humanity forever, you know,
Wow.
for all over the world, and allow people to understand how do we work together? How do we work together as countries? How do we work together as cultures, as people? And how do we try to find a common ground, even at times when we're fighting like brothers and sisters? You know,
Yeah.
how do we
Yeah.
how do we get to some kind of understanding that, you know, we're all going to be here together, so we might as well figure out how to get along?
I love it. I love it. Doc, you know the time is flying by fast, but you know what doesn't fly by fast? Me giving out gifts. So I have
Oh,
something for you. I have this. This is for you. So
oh,
this shirt,
thank you.
yes.
Oh, that's great. Ricky,
This
no
and you,
suave,
you
gracias para todo. Yo le gusto mucho. Merci beaucoup, ça c'est très bon, hein? Merci.
de nada, chica, de nada. You know, this shirt right here means a lot to me, but it means a lot for me to give this to you. And the reason why is because you're internationally known and also your journey by going to different cultures and also bringing cultures together from a business standpoint and also being able to prepare things to talk to them and interact with them and then also to be able to write a book that should come out as a docuseries, you know, favorable of the Rico No Suave show. You know, it's there's so many things that you have actually accomplished. And I'm so happy that you have, and I'm proud that you are doing great things for people, humans, to get better, but also you have done great things to be able to build your legacy. So welcome to the team. This is definitely for
Thank you.
you,
What
my
a
love.
privilege. I'm just smiling ear to ear, you know, it's just like, thank you. It's such a pleasure, and thank you so much for the privilege.
No problem. We got to put up, of course, everybody, if you're actually watching, you see her title, but you also see her on LinkedIn. So, Dr. Ariel King, make sure you please go and check her out. Make sure you go and follow her. Go ahead and like her there. And we're going to put up your website, love. Let's put up your website. So, we have Dr. King Solutions. So, everything that you need to know about her, drkingsolutions.com. Make sure you please go there and support her. Tell her you saw the Rico No Suave show, and I love your work. Just make sure you continue to follow her journey. And also, if you need her expertise, please make sure she have a solution. Or if you have multiple business, she have solutions for each one of your businesses as well, too. So, Dr. King, I want to say thank you so much for actually being on the show with me today. There will definitely, and like I said, you have a plethora of things that we can talk about more, but I definitely will have you back on the show. Hopefully this year or maybe the next following year, but we
Thank
definitely
you.
will keep in
I'm there
contact.
anytime.
Oh, I
Anytime I'm available. I'm looking forward to being with you and your audience again. So thank you all for the privilege.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I'll talk to you soon. Adios, nos vemos, and thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dr. Ariel King. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. It's your boy Rico No Suave here on the 1212. Thank you guys so much for actually being here with us today. Man, we got to put up our social media, everybody, because you know why? We want you guys to know what it's all about us, everybody. So yeah, www.riconosuaveshow.com. Make sure you go ahead and follow us there. We do have archives. We have so many great things that's coming up. You can check out our NASCAR videos and all that great stuff. Here's our next one. You know, Instagram. Yeah, we're on Instagram, everybody, at Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go and follow us. Go ahead and show some love. Follow us there on at Rico No Suave Show. Here's the next one. And you know, Facebook, that's what they asked us to come back to see them again. Rico No Suave Show, go ahead and like and love everything we're actually doing there. Here's our next one. Oh, yeah, let's get that YouTube there. You know the YouTube, subscribe. Suscríbete, mi gente. Make sure you go there and subscribe to the Rico No Suave Show. And then last but not least, we have mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. It turns into a podcast, everybody. We go live and it turns into a podcast so you can actually listen to it in your car if you happen to miss out on the show. Everybody, we got to get out of here. But thank you guys so much for being here on the Rico No Suave Show. And of course, everybody, I will see you next time as we end off the show just like this.